In this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast, it is another solo full scouting report video. And the prospect for today is Arkansas's Boogie Fland. Me and my brother James Barlowe, we're going to talk about Boogie. And I have a question I'm going to ask James. Is Boogie Arkansas's best NBA prospect? Big shout out to each and every person that has made the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast your first listen of the day. I am your host, Rafael Barlowe, along with my brother James Barlowe. And before we get into this episode, I want to let you know that it is brought to you by FanDuel, and you can start off the season with a big return on FanDuel. All you have to do is place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com to get started. Now, if you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, what's taking you so long? Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, like, share, comment, make sure that you click the bell so you can be notified every time we drop an episode, because the Locked On NBA Big Board crew is coming at you 5 days a week. I'm trying to show the 5 to the people that are watching on YouTube, but my hand isn't on the screen, but let me put it right in front of my face. 5 days per week, and that is at the very minimum. NBA season is around the corner. College basketball season has come up. They had media day today in the NBA, and the first preseason game, at least for the Dallas Mavericks, is on Monday. So looking forward to that. But again, we're getting closer to college basketball season. They've already started playing overseas. We've seen a couple prospects like Ben Serra, for example, shine. And then we've seen Nolan Traore struggle in his first couple of games. Again, it is early. It is very early. I don't want to make it seem like after 2 or 3 games, somebody's stock is skyrocketing or somebody's stock is falling. But those are 2 point guards that are playing. Another point guard that is going to be in the mix in this draft, if you think he's a point guard, is Boogie Fland. He's a guy that I like. I like his games, fun to watch. He's visually appealing. I think that he has some skills that definitely translate to the NBA. But I want to get your opinion, James. What are your thoughts on Boogie Fland?
Shooter. NBA range, off the dribble, shoots threes off the dribble. He's very skilled at 18 years old. And I think he just turned 18 in July. So, he could be a junior in high school, or he could be a senior in high school right now if he, wanted to finesse the system. But he reminds me, Raf, I'm just jumping to the comparison right now.
Okay.
He reminds me of, whatever you think about it, he reminds me of Mo Williams, man.
Shout out to Mo.
Mo.
That's a pretty interesting comparison. I'm gonna have to shoot Mo a text and see if he agrees with that. But you know what, that is a good comparison. That's not the comparison I had in mind, but I guess I really honestly didn't have an apples to apples comparison. My comparison for him is not necessarily in game, but situationally is Rob Dillingham. As far as the situation, he's probably not going to be the starter from day one, has a couple people ahead of him, but he could end up being their best prospect coming off the bench. But anyway, go ahead into the Mo Williams comparison. I like that.
To Williams, because he's such a really, really good shooter, and I think that they're very similar athletes. I think that Mo's best offense and Boogie Fland's best offense will be off the dribble jump shots and not necessarily getting to the basket. That is probably one of my biggest concerns with Boogie Fland, is will he be able to finish at the next level. But as far as just shooting off the dribble, he's got it. He's got step backs going right. And usually kids his age don't have step backs going right. And he's got the big gather. I really, like you said, his game is visually appealing. But the Mo Williams comparison, for the young fans, or for the Mo had a 54-point game on what? No free throws?
Late in his career. You're talking about the game against Minnesota?
Yeah.
That was late in his career. His last on the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, that was a jump shot shooting display. So like I think Boogie's gonna be really good in pick and roll as far as just getting his shots. As far as like his playmaking goes, I think he'll have that opportunity in Arkansas. I think he's a ball mover kind of playmaker, not necessarily like a advanced read guy, but that's okay because with him being able to shoot the ball as well as he does, he'll have opportunities to make simple reads. But like, yeah, I really like his game, man.
I like that comparison. That's probably one of the best comparisons that you've came up with.
That's why you got me on the show, man. You know, I got a different set of eyes, brother.
I was going to say you on the show because you're my brother, but that's that makes it seem like you're not qualified. No, you definitely qualified. That's just the first thing that came to my mind. But no, I mean, I like the comparison, and I'm being honest, and I've said this to different people. Mo Williams is one of the top 3 best high school players I've ever seen, like in person that I watched. And I was in college and then Mo was in high school, but I remember just how easy scoring was to him. Like he could score 36 in high school and it just looked very easy. It was efficient. I remember there was a game they were double teaming him and trapping him at half. He made the right passes. I mean, nobody talks about Mo being like this phenomenal passer or playmaker, but he's a high IQ guy, smart, can make the right passes, but he could shoot. Shoots a very, very easy ball. I mean, that
sounds like Boogie Fland.
No, again, it's a very, very good comparison because I could see how somebody can look at Mo back in the day and say, well, he's not a great NBA level athlete. He's not finishing at the rim. Is he a point? Is he undersized too? But the thing that they both have in common is they can complement any player. Mo was an all-star. So I don't want to make it seem like, you know, I mean, I think there's a lot of people that probably just remember him with the Cavs, but Mo was an all-star. So I like that comparison. And the thing about Mo is that I don't know if you were there when he mentioned when we were talking to him, I guess, that was probably like 8 years ago. I think he had like 1 or 2 dunks in his NBA career. And I remember him talking to like some of the players that he used to work with. And he was basically telling them like, that athleticism, yeah, that's great. But I played a long time with like 1 or 2 dunks. And he just knew how to put the ball in the hole. He knew how to play, whether it's the point, play off guys. So again, I'm gonna give you an A+ on that comparison.
Hey, man, listen to me, man. You know, last episode I hit you with the spreadsheet. This episode I can hit you with the goggles and bring a Mo Williams comparison. I mean, you know, I'm kind of eyed at this scouting thing, dog. You know.
No, I like it. One of the things that like when I had in my notes about Boogie Flynn was that he can play on or off the ball. I have him as like this uber confident, aggressive, and creative scorer. He's a tough shot taker. He is unselfish, and that's what I was getting to. He's a tough shot taker, tough shot maker. He's efficient even though he takes tough shots. And usually, like when a guy is like really, really confident and take tough shots, usually like the concern behind that is bad shot selection.
But hold on.
I'm gonna say Boogie. I don't think that he has really bad shot selection because the shots that he takes may be hard shots to some, but he can make those step backs and those deep pull-up jumpers. So I like him a lot, man.
Here's my thing though. So like, especially in particular, like that step back that he shoots going right, he shoots that understanding that I'm not a high flyer. The second line of defense is there. That is the correct shot to take. And he's repped it out and he understands when to take it. That isn't a shot that he's taking because it's a bad shot. Patrick Ewing isn't asking him, hey man, do you work on that shot? Like, nah, he understands that if I can't get to the basket, it's almost like CJ McCollum, right? CJ McCollum, yeah, he's got a shot diet where you be like, yeah, these are some tough shots, but he understands this is what I'm working with. This is where the help defense is. This is the correct shot to take. And if you work on it and you have the skill level to develop it, it works.
I'm laughing because it took me a second to register when he was like, Patrick Ewing isn't asking him, do you work on that shot?
Come on, man, keep up with me, man.
I'm like, why are you talking about Patrick Ewing? But for those that don't know, there's like this this clip where in a timeout where Patrick Ewing was coaching. He was like, "Do you work on that shot?" No, that was hilarious. But no, man, no. I've said it over and over. I like Boogie. I think he can play on and off the ball. I'm gonna dig a little bit deeper to my personal scouting report on Boogie, and then we're gonna talk about the decision to go to Arkansas. I want to hear James's opinion on that because I know he got some takes he want to get off about the whole Arkansas situation. But before we get into the second segment, let's talk about FanDuel, because if you are an NFL fan, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, which is America's #1 sports book. So when you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play and so much more. And it's actually on the same page where you placed your bets. And you can get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. All you have to do is place your first $5 bet, and that is at FanDuel.com. Big shout out to each and every person that has made the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast your first listen of the day. Now, for your second listen, you got to check out the Locked On NBA podcast. Why? Because they provide you with daily basketball analysis from the national and local experts, and you get it in 30 minutes or less. No one is going to keep you as informed or as entertained as Locked On NBA. It is available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. It is part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. All right, second segment. First segment, James gave one, in my opinion, A-plus player comparison with Boogie Flynn to Mo Williams. And I'm just going to read some of like my scouting notes on Boogie Flynn. Again, I talked about him being an aggressive, creative scorer, tough shot taker, tough shot maker. I think he's a shifty ball handler. He uses, advanced dribble moves and quickness and change of pace. Not necessarily like blowing. I mean, it's hard to stay in front of him, but I think like what makes him tough to contain is the fact that he is shifty. He knows how to create space off the dribble, and he changes directions, changes speeds. He just knows how to get to where he wants to get to on the floor. I think he's a really good playmaker out of ball screens. He splits the pick and roll, and when he's not like getting downhill, he has an efficient and effective stop and pop jumper. Might be one of the best stop and pop pull-up shooters in this draft class. And here's the thing about the Mo Williams comparison that I like. I've watched Mo back when he was in high school. I've actually had a chance to like play with them. Like one time I was playing like 2-on-2 with one of his sons. And I've seen him shoot. Like I would see him work out when he was living here in Dallas. And like the best way to describe Mo shooting is he shoots like an easy ball. Like it just looks effortless. It's an easy shot. The mechanics are clean. And that's one of the things I have in my notes about Boogie Flynn. He can shoot it from NBA range, and it's an easy looking shot. It's effortless. It's deep shooting range. And in a game, he can get hot and he can score in bunches. He can play off both guard spots like we talked about. But here's the thing about his game that I think is very advanced for his age. He is very, very good at relocating and getting open once he passes the ball. Like there's some guys, they dribble, and they only pass it to get an assist. He knows how to pass almost a little Steph Curry-like in a sense. He knows how to pass, and he keeps moving, and he relocates to get an open shot. And so he has a very, very good understanding of like spacing. Like not a guy that passes it and just stands there. I think as a passer, again, he makes smart decisions, good drive and kick vision, makes the simple pass, shows flashes of advanced reads. I think he's fast in the open floor. My concerns are sometimes the jumpers are unbalanced, and like it's a tough shot in a sense. But again, that's nitpicking. My guy, he's had a quick first step, good athlete, but not super explosive. And then just, the typical concerns about him being 6'2", like 175, Is he a 1? Is he a 2? Is he going to get the opportunity to show that he can be a primary ball handler? And I think some of those concerns are kind of minimized because he's such a good shooter. So I don't have that big of a concern about that. But I guess if there was a major concern I have is he going to get the keys to show that he's the best NBA prospect at Arkansas? So I know I was long-winded there. What are your thoughts on that and his overall decision to like commit to Kentucky, back out of his commitment, follow Calipari to Arkansas?
All right, Ralph, I'm going to say something that you don't expect me to say. I think he's going to be okay at Arkansas because he can play off the ball and because he can shoot. And we've seen that in the past, if you can play off the ball and you can shoot, you can give yourself a chance at I was going to say at Kentucky, but you can give yourself a chance in a Coach Cal backcourt because it's going to be crowded all the time. But the guys that can shoot the ball, they find a way. History proves it. History shows it. Devin Booker, Manuel Quickly, Rob Dillingham, Reed Shepherd, those guys,
Devin Booker was held back.
Yeah, they owe Devin Booker a couple of M's, but actually, you know what? Devin Booker is like a 10-year vet, and he's like 28, so he made his money back. But yeah, I think if you can shoot as a guard in a Kentucky system, Coach Cal system, you'll be okay.
It's almost like a few years back you wanted to say Memphis. It was so easy to confuse Memphis and Kentucky because they both wore blue. But now it's like, it's like history repeats itself. You want to say Kentucky, but it's Arkansas.
I think he'll be fine. My issue or my concern is, and we talked about it, DJ Wagner. I don't know how he fits in with it, especially if he doesn't, improve as a shooter. But I think Boogie, because he can shoot, you can play him next to Wagner. Because he can shoot, you can play him next to the other guy, Donnell Davis. I think he'll be fine. And I wish he would have stayed at Kentucky and played with Pope because he'd have been like that guy that got the ball rolling. They found some guys, and they're actually going to be fine because they're landing recruits left and right. But I think you would have got to see him play more of a lead guard. But maybe that's just not what he is. So, but I think he'll be fine at Arkansas.
But do you think there's enough flashes to think he could be a lead guard?
I think there is. Well, I don't necessarily think he's a lead guard in the sense that lead guard like Damian Lillard, that kind of lead guard where you're averaging 25 and 7 assists. I don't think he's going to be that because as good of a shooter as he is, he's not really good at the rim. And even in high school, he's at 54% at the rim. And that wasn't, top-notch athleticism, top-notch bigs, no. And also, I think that he gets to the foul line, I think 4 times a game. That's good, but that's not like great. So I don't know if he's going to be a lead guard. I think he's a Mo Williams complimentary guard that can light it up, run the offense, and you pair him next to somebody else, he'll be fine. You pair him next to a big wing ball handler, he'll be good.
So do you think like his defined NBA role is as a, like a floor spacing combo guard?
Scoring combo guard. I guess I don't even know if that's what you want to call it, but I think he's a scoring combo guard. Yeah. I think my definition, lead guard, is I'm constantly putting pressure on the rim, constantly putting pressure on the defense, and I can beat you with the pass and I can beat you with the points. I don't know if that's what Boogie Fland is going to be just because of his lack of rim pressure and ability to finish at the rim, but I think he is going to be fine at the NBA level.
All right, that's fair. All right, when we return in the last segment, we're going to talk a little bit about his concerns and areas of growth or areas for growth, what we would like to see out of him in his freshman season, and then we're going to dig into, is he Arkansas's best NBA prospect? But before we get into the last segment, let's talk about Game Time, which is my favorite app when it comes to purchasing tickets. It's not just for sporting events. It's concerts, comedies, theaters, and more. I love that Game Time has all-in pricing. All you have to do is toggle this feature, and it shows you the total upfront, and there are no surprise fees at checkout. I hate when I purchase a ticket to a sporting event and you get to checkout. It's a significant jump in price. With Game Time, if you go toggle the all-in feature, you'll see what the total is right there up front. Another feature that I love about Game Time is you can view your seat in the app before you buy, and it's a panoramic view. Game Time also has the lowest price guarantee, or they will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So just take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply, but all you have to do, create an account, use the redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today, because what time is it? Game time. All right, last segment. Let's just talk about concerns, areas for growth, and what you would like to see out of Boogie Fland this season.
So again, I mentioned it a few times. My biggest concern is him finishing at the rim. I think he's a good athlete, but ultimately I think he's a below the rim finisher. So because he's a great shooter, I don't think that he's going to have any issue shooting or having the touch to shoot floaters. It's just going to be a matter of, will he shoot them, and does he have he's a high IQ guy, so I think he'll be able to adapt. But shooting floaters, finishing at the rim is going to be his biggest issue for me. And then as good of a shooter as he is, you got to think this is probably going to be the first time in his career where he's going to have to adjust. So is he going to be like the microwave guy? Is he going to be able to come in and, like Rob Dillingham, stone cold off the bench, was knocking down threes, right? Reed Shepherd, stone cold off the bench, lights out. Is he going to be able to shoot at the same volume that those two guys did off the bench? That's we're assuming that he's coming off the bench. We know he's going to play, but in a scaled down role, is he going to be able to shoot the ball extremely well?
All right, here's a question for you. Is he Arkansas's best NBA prospect?
I think he is.
So for those that are trying to wonder, like, who are the prospects? You got Zvonimir Ivisic, who I like. You got Carter Knox. You got Trevon Brazile. You got DJ Wagner. I feel like I'm missing someone. Billy Richmond. I know I'm missing someone. Thiero.
Yeah.
Another guy that's very intriguing. So you think that he's Arkansas's best NBA prospect?
I mean, it's him or Zvonimir, 1A, 1B. But I mean, if you just want to go with the whole Coach Cal rule that the guard that comes off the bench is probably going to be the best guard on the team, then it might be Boogie Flynn.
What type of numbers or what type of production does he need, in your opinion, to get a spot in the lottery?
12 points, 3 assists, 37% three-point shooting. I think that's very doable for him.
Do you think he can put up like the Rob Dillingham type numbers?
I don't know if he's as electric as Rob is.
No, I'm just saying, like, just
the numbers to do it, though?
Yeah. I mean, Rob surprised a lot of people with how well he shot the ball.
Yeah.
I think that, I know Rob could shoot, but Rob was very, very efficient.
Rob was unreal. Yeah, I think he could do something similar to that. Yeah, that sounds about right. Again, 12, 13 points. I think that's enough to get him in the lottery. I think he's more of a back lottery guy, even best case scenario. But I think he does have the opportunity to play himself into the lottery. Just like I said, he's very advanced scoring the ball. And like, even though he is a 6'2" combo or whatever, like, shooting the ball is still a premium. And if you're a team like, I know they just drafted my man Rob, but like, if if you want to pair him next to like an Anthony Edwards type, it would work.
Here's a question for you. I talked to a scout, and he was not a big fan of Rob Dillingham. And before I get into that, Rob Dillingham averaged 15 a game and shot 44% from three on 4.5 attempts in 23 minutes.
A
So
lot of
Rob
them was off the dribble too.
right, yeah. Rob was like 15, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, but 47, 44, 79 shooting split. So I spoke with a scout a few days ago, and he was not a big Rob Dillingham fan. And he mentioned that unless Rob Dillingham is Trae Young, why would the Timberwolves make a trade and select him in the lottery? And he's like, how many guys are 6'1", 6'2" that are thin can survive in the NBA? And he mentioned, unless you're dynamic, this is a scout's opinion, unless you are dynamic, he doesn't think that someone that small is worthy of a lottery pick.
But Rob is dynamic, though. That's the thing. Like, he isn't.
But he was saying, like, his point was, do you think Rob is going to be Trae Young? Because as good as Trae Young is, there are still concerns about if you can win with him as your best player. But if you're a Trae Young, defender or apologist, you can say he's went to the conference finals. And so, I mean, there's a lot of debates about Trae Young. But anyway, like I said, the guy feels like unless a guy is Trae Young, how much room for error is there if you are a 6'1" or 6'2", 170, 180 pound guard?
I think sometimes we can look at things and say, well, if you're not this, then you have to be this. As much of a Rob Dillingham fan, I don't need him to be my best player. Can you win with Trae Young, who, I mean, whether you like him or not, that's 27 and 10 every year. Can you win with him as your best player? I mean, he went to a conference finals. They're still trying to figure it out. I'm not asking Rob, and neither are the Timberwolves. They're not asking him to be the best player. They're asking him to be the man when Mike Conley retires. He had an interview. I just watched it before we started filming. And he was like, I'm in a great situation. I'm learning from a guy that came in with a similar build to me, skinny, and I'm in a great situation to figure this out, and I couldn't have asked for a better mentor. About Boogie Fland, he's not as – because Rob is built like a little kid, and, Boogie wears a T-shirt, so maybe we don't get to see any cuts either.
The measurements are the same. Like what ESPN had Rob listed as, they had him at 6'1", 176. That's what ESPN had him listed at. And most of the stuff I've seen about Boogie is like 6'2", 175.
And that might be a lot of hair too. So, I mean, I'm not really concerned because like kids are 18. He's a young
he'll be 18
freshman
on draft night.
Yeah, he'll just turn 19 on draft night.
Okay.
I think he's born in July. Yeah. So
draft night he'll be 18. he may be 19 in summer league.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah. So you're right. My fault. I was getting my dates mixed up. But like, he's still a kid. He could still be in high school. So at 175, can he fill out to 185 NBA starter? Absolutely. We've seen that before. We see it all the time. Dennis Schroeder, yes, he's got arms wingspan for days, but he's 6'1", 175. He's got big shoulders, but like, he's not the biggest guy.
Still got the first step.
First step is mean. He's a below the rim finisher, and he is by NBA standards, an average shooter, but he does a lot of other things very well. So it's like, I mean, I get it, but if I'm taking Boogie Fland and he's the 12th pick, he's not going to be my best player, right? Like, that's not how draft history works. I don't expect him to be my best player.
I mean, you hope so. I mean, you hope like a Devin Booker type situation. Man. I don't think he was the 12th pick. I think he was 11 or something like that.
But it's been Booker.
A scenario.
It's been Booker. It's been Shea. Like, it hasn't been a lot of guys drafted in the back end of the lottery that are like your best players. It can happen, but I'm more realistic. If you want to play the numbers game, play the numbers game all the way through. Because again, if Boogie Flynn is the 12th pick, he's here to be a help to our superstar or all-star.
All right, here's a last question for you, and this is a question that I've asked on a few episodes. If Boogie Fland has to come back to school as a sophomore, he's not a first-round pick. What happened in your opinion?
He didn't shoot the ball well at all, and he looks like more of a shooting guard than a combo guard.
That's fair. That's valid. I think I agree. I think for him to not be a first round pick, and I still think it's actually possible because you figure if Wagner gets better and Johnell Davis is the same Johnell Davis, the minutes could be a little limited, even though Kyle will find a way to play him. But if he doesn't live up to the hype as a shooter, then I could see it. But I could also see him having like a Tyrese Maxey type freshman season where maybe he doesn't shoot as good as people thought. And then it's like he's the, late first round pick. And then he all of a sudden he proves a lot of teams wrong for passing on him because too much emphasis was put on the shooting struggles over 25 to 30 games as opposed to how elite of a shooter he has been, throughout his prep career. So I could actually see him having a Tyrese Maxey type.
Listen, when he does get to the NBA and he sees drop coverage, it's not going to be any hesitation for him to shoot those threes off the dribble. He's got the footwork. He's got the talent. Like he has the offensive ability already at 18. And it's just going to be a matter of those other things as far as just like the opportunity and can he show that he can run a team. So I like him a lot. Hey, was Mo a Burger Boy?
Yeah. Yeah, Mo was McDonald's All-American.
I know he was a high school. I mean, he was a parade All-American too, but I couldn't remember if he was a Burger Boy or not.
Yeah, he was a McDonald's All-American. Should have been a first-round pick. I mean, he told us that story.
Yeah.
Should have been a first-round pick, and he could tell you all the guards that were drafted ahead of him, and he outlasted them too. So shout out to Mo, who is the head coach at my alma mater, Jackson State. Well, that wraps up this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board Podcast. Once again, thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Now, for your second listen, go find Locked On NBA. It is where the local experts keep you updated every day on all the biggest storylines ahead of the season, which is around the corner. Preseason basketball is coming up this week. Can you believe that? This week.
Man, I'm ready.
I'm ready too. You can find Locked On NBA on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Once again, it's Rafael Barlowe with my brother James. If you are watching on YouTube, let us know your thoughts on Boogie Flynn. Is he Arkansas's best prospect? Who is your player comparison for Boogie? And do you think the shooting will translate to college? Once again, it's Rafael with James, and we are out of here.